Thanks again for joining me for Customer Experience, the series. Today's topic is crossing boundaries, professional and personal boundaries, and how this can have an impact on customer experience and give you a low rating in terms of customer service. So, I was talking about in part one, I was talking about your space and the customer space as a consultant or wherever you're working in a retail space, in a taxi, in a garage, wherever you are at. Um, just try and maintain your distance or a decent distance from the customer. Um, and just respect their personal space. And then I'm just going to continue from there on. The customer space, if you, for example, if you're a consultant, so the customer's on the opposite side of you, the customer has half of the desk basically. So let them put down whatever they need to put down or whatever the case may be, but it's not your business to be moving around the items. If they are there for a service request, they will hand the documents to you, or you will touch the document or indicate that you point to the document and then ask them, or can you take this document? You know what I mean? Because now you are entering or coming close to the space. So there's a line in between. When you're approaching the space, it's best to say, is it okay if I take this form? Or is this what you brought me to review, for example? You know what I mean? Even if you're in a store environment, whatever the case may be, um, say for example, the customer's there for a refund, and now, because I'm just thinking of examples as to why you would want to cross over to the customer space. So if the customer is there for a refund, they have an item, they brought it to you, then when the time is right, then you just let them know before the time. This goes back to my conversations on communication. Make sure that you communicate well. It's just a few words you can say. For example, um, so this is what you brought back to the store. So they know that you are showing towards the clothing that is going to be returned, or you are taking the item that they brought for a refund, okay, because you're crossing into their space. Because you don't want a situation where the customer ends up screaming because they feel like it's inappropriate. You know what I mean? That can cause a big scene. And you know, there's lots of eyes, especially in a busy period. Everyone is going to gather around to see what's happening. Then you're going to have to deal with that whole situation. And it's best to do the right thing the first time. So, when it comes to the customer space, if the customer is there, even though the customer is friendly, receptive, um, they're engaging with you nicely in terms of what you're saying, you're asking questions, and the conversation is going nice. Very good. Okay, remember it's different than if you're speaking to a friend of yours. For example, if you're speaking to a friend of yours, then there may be some boundaries that will be crossed depending on your type of relationship, because you've been with the person, you know the person many years, you you ate together, you have memories together, okay, you know that person like you thoroughly know this person. If you are now crossing boundaries, okay, you hug the person, you're touching the person, or whatever the case may be, you know that the person is okay with it, or what is allowed in the relationship between the two of you. But when it is a customer, even though the conversation is going well, you being authentic, the customer's being authentic, remember that customer might not be your friend. in most cases, they are not your friend. So that means you shouldn't be touching their hair if you like their hair. You shouldn't be touching their clothing. You shouldn't be touching their shoulders. You shouldn't be touching their hands, their cell phones, their personal items, their bag, and um, anything in the customer space you should not do. You should not touch. Let me just close this line quickly. So let's think of a scenario as to why on earth you would want to find yourself in a situation where you're touching the customer's personal items. So now the conversation is going well. Maybe your manager told you, listen, you need to focus on customer service because the customers is going to start rating how you what customer experience they get in the branch. You might be looking at NPS ratings, etc. So now you're being authentic, you're asking questions, you're getting the customer in a comfortable space so that you can cross-sell things to them or you can create customer loyalty. So that is okay. But once you confuse the situation with a personal situation, like you are talking to someone you actually know personally, then it can get tricky. For example, you are now complimenting. Maybe you are two ladies and you're complimenting, oh, but I like your hair, I like the streaks in your hair. Maybe they have grey hair suits you well. Maybe they have a nice blouse on. I really like your top that you're wearing. Where did you get it from? Which store? Um, I like your bag. I have a similar bag to that. Um, I like your phone cover. Where did you get your phone cover? I also design phone covers, for example. That's when you start maybe complimenting a customer, and now you think that you can cross over from your space into the customer space and touch what it is that you like. Okay, so here is the tricky part. Do not do that because what you can be doing in that situation is you can offer the compliment verbally if it's decent and appropriate. You can offer the compliment to the customer and they will say thank you and that's good enough. But you won't say, oh, I like your hair, and go over and put your fingers through the customer's hair, for example, or touch the head of the customer, because now you're crossing boundaries. So that's when it gets uncomfortable. Okay, so I think I explained properly the difference between um, personal and professional relationships, and I would like to hear your take on things. Explain to me your thoughts on the situation.